Here she is, the new Kosas Bb Burst Tinted Gel Cream. Let me decode that for you. It basically means it's a tinted moisturizer. I feel like makeup nowadays, it's usually like a bunch of freaking marketing words in the name. It's a tinted moisturizer. But anyway, it comes in this plastic airless pump packaging. Classic Kosas yellow cap. You get exactly 1 fluid ounce of product in here. What I'm liking about the packaging is the airless pump, which means you're gonna get every single thing out of this container. We don't really love that it's plastic. It's quite small. It also, just especially for the price, feels like quite cheap. Like it's just a very simple, cheap packaging, and this is $38. So their foundation came in a glass bottle, which was nice. So something to think about. I picked up the shade Very Light Neutral, which I found in their foundation was a really great match for me, which is described as very light with neutral undertones. So this says it's a clean tinted gel cream that's a fresh take on tinted moisturizer, delivers a refreshing burst of active skincare, light buildable coverage, and a smooth, hydrated, natural finish. It also says it's non-comedogenic, it's hydrating, hypoallergenic, and light coverage. Before we get started in the application, this I bought myself. I did see a couple sort of like try-ons of this product before, but it was before the product even launched, so I'm guessing they were gifted. And they seem like a little bit exaggerated, so I'm not exactly sure what people are thinking of this, like people who actually bought it and tried it, so we will see. I want to mention also that this, it says it's a tinted gel cream in the name. Usually products that have gel in the name mean that they're water-based, like this product is. Now that's important to know, because if you're pairing this water-based product with any skincare that has silicone in it and you're rubbing it onto your face, highly likely that you're going to end up with pilling. So you really want to make sure that you're using water-based skincare underneath this. In the directions, it just says let your skincare sit before applying this, but I would really recommend using water-based skincare. Now I have my favorite water-based moisturizers in case you need recommendations. I just wanted to mention off the bat, most affordable option is this Kinship Supermello Hydrating Gel Cream. Again, just like that has the word gel in it, so do these moisturizers. So this one is just pretty classic light moisturizing gel. Also really love the Peach and Lily Matcha Pudding. This one's a little bit thicker, but still has a nice water-based consistency. They also have a gel moisturizer from Peach and Lily that works great. Another good one is the Rose Inc Hydration Replenish Microencapsulated Moisturizer. This one is such a fun texture. Look at that, it's so cool. I'm wearing the Peach and Lily one today, by the way. And then also the Kravebeauty Oh So Simple Water Cream. Again, it has water in the name, so it's water-based. This one I would say is probably the thinnest out of all of them. So let me do a little swatchy of this. It does have a pump, by the way. So here is the shade 10, Very Light Neutral. Looks like a really good match. I don't have the foundation to compare it to because I used all of it and now I just have shades that don't match that well. But yeah, this one, if you have like a fair, cool, neutral olive undertone, I think is a really good pick. I will compare it to the concealer though. They have shade comparisons on the Sephora website. So if you like have a shade of their concealer and you're not sure what shade you'd be in, this has a little guide for you. This is the shade 0.5N. So this one actually almost has a little bit more of like an olivey tone to it versus this one. You can tell it's pulling a little more like peachy warm, but it does seem like it's going to work. Just consistency wise, this sitting on my skin, it's almost separating a little bit on my hand, which is just interesting. We will see how that works on the skin. And it says this is light buildable coverage, so I think I'm gonna start with my fingers because that's how I would usually use like a tinted moisturizer like this, and then I think we'll try with a sponge as well. So I'm taking 1 pump and then let's just see how this goes. Oh, in terms of smell, I know a lot of you are like, you have very strong opinions on Kosas's smell in their makeup. To me, it's never smelled like that bad. Like, it's not fragrance, which I like. It just smells like minerals. Like, it doesn't really have that distinctive a scent. Okay. This looks like it's going to take a little bit of blending. Feels really nice on the skin though. Feels a little bit like thicker than I imagined. So that was 1 pump just on this part of my face. I have not done my forehead yet. Shade wise, looks really good. I find that it's like sinking into my pores a little bit right here. Usually it's not a big issue for me. It feels a little bit heavier than I was expecting because it's called a BB Burst Tinted Gel Cream. I was thinking of all those moisturizers I mentioned that feel like really refreshing. It actually feels quite similar to the foundation. If I were to use that with my hands, I feel like the weight of it is pretty similar. Definitely a little bit lighter But let's go in with, I'll do a half a pump for my forehead. It is definitely a lot thinner than the foundation, by the way. That foundation is thick, which I do really like that foundation, by the way. I think it applies best with your hands, and that one can be a little bit heavy. So when I heard this was coming out, I was actually quite excited because I was like, if it's a lighter version of their foundation, I'd be really happy. So I used about 1.5 pumps for my face. It's actually looking really pretty. It is for sure adding a dew to my face. It applied relatively well. I did have to like work it in for a little bit, but after the fact, I think it looks really fresh and healthy. It says it has light buildable coverage, and I would agree with it. I was like, I hope it's not sheer buildable coverage like a lot of like skin tints claim to be, where it's like virtually no coverage. This one does give you light coverage, which I'm really liking at the moment actually, but I am really curious to see how this is going to wear. I'm excited that it came out because I think not a lot of brands are launching tinted moisturizers that are like water-based like this. A lot of skin tints tend to be oil-based, or they're a little bit dewier, which usually just don't work for me. So to see a more water-based tinted moisturizer, I was excited to try it out. I think I want to try to build the coverage up a little bit because it does claim to be buildable. We have to test that as well. So I'm just going to take another pump on my hand. I want to use it with a sponge and see if the sponge absorbs a lot of it. It's not as thin as I was expecting, so I don't think that's really going to be an issue, but let's just see how this goes. Yeah, that's applying really nicely. I do usually use the sponge for most things. The only other thing I'm noticing right off the bat, I do have some dryness around my nose. I don't think that it's accentuating the dryness, but it's not necessarily like making it go away either, which is fine. It's kind of just there, which might be an issue as it wears throughout the day. Just to mention, if you have a lot of dry patches, maybe, I don't know, maybe using a brush would work better. I'll do a little bit of my Haus Labs concealer. I do not like the Kosas concealer for under my eyes. This one is my favorite of like all time. It's so good. Saw Haus Labs has a new like tinted plumping lip gloss, which I'm usually not like super into lip oil launches, but that one looks really good. And they have a cool pink shade as well. I'm just gonna use that sponge to blend it out, and we'll see if there's any issues with these two formulas. I'm also quite curious to see how much this differs versus just wearing a light layer of their foundation, because this one's a little bit more skincare based. I think this one right off the bat is a little bit dewier than the foundation. To set my under eyes, I'm just going to use the translucent Dermablend powder. The concealer and this tinted moisturizer, by the way, going well together. There's no pilling. Oh, I have been using this new eye cream. I usually hate eye creams for under makeup because they most of the time just mess with my concealer, but this one actually looks so good. The In Beauty Bright and Tight eye cream, it has a little bit of like a peachy tint, which helps with darkness, and a little bit of shimmer, so it's super pretty. It says it has vitamin C in it, and I really like this like big pump container instead of having to like put your finger in a little tiny eye cream pot. So yeah, this was a surprise hit. I'll also drag a little bit of that powder onto the sides of the nose. Then we'll use a pressed powder for the rest of the face. The rest of my face, I'm gonna use the Bareminerals Mineral Veil, the pressed version. It's just a really nice lightweight powder. Before we do the rest of the makeup, in the comments below, vote if you think this is going to end up wearing well and being a good pick, or if you think it's gonna be so-so or bad. Love to know your predictions, and we'll see if you're right by the end of this video. For bronzer, I'm gonna use the Pure Bronzing Act, which is this super light, fair skin friendly matte bronzer. Such a nice light neutral bronzer, never looks orange. I usually don't like the look of light coverage things until I have the rest of my makeup on, so we're gonna speed through this. If you are new to my channel, by the way, or maybe you just haven't seen the videos and you're curious about anything from Kosas, I reviewed almost every single one of their products. I also have a best and worst video of Kosas. I have a Kosas versus Ilia video. I'll put the videos in a little playlist here in case you are curious before you buy any of their makeup, if you like it or not. Next, for blush, I've been really liking this Trixie Cosmetics Back to the Fuchsia palette. It's so cute. So it comes with these like purple shades and a nice highlight. This middle shade, which is called Moon Boots, it's a super pretty matte pastel, like purpley pink. It's just so flattering if you have a cool undertone. Whenever I have light coverage on as well, I like to go really cool toned with my blush, because I feel like I do have natural redness in my face, and when I have a cool tone blush, it sort of neutralizes the rest of the redness because it draws your attention to the sort of cooler tone shade instead. I don't know if I'm explaining that the best, but I feel like it helps. I'm also going to use this highlight here. This one's called hologram, which looks like it would be too dark, but it's actually a nice sheer formula. I'm gonna go ahead and do my brows, and then I have some more new makeup I want to try for the rest of my face. All right, to the eyes, I have this really gorgeous, this is a new collection from Chantecaille. It's the Sea Turtle collection. First off, this bag, I think this color is so gorgeous. Like, I wish I had a jacket in this color. So they have the new Sea Turtle collection, and they have a warm and a cool sort of area of this collection, which I really love that they separated them so you know which is which. So first are the little eyeshadow palettes. These are the Sea Turtle eyeshadow trios, and this is the cool version, which has this really cute blue sea turtle on it, and then you get 3 shimmery shades. This is the cool palette. I feel like this is like more of a neutral shade, but we'll let it slide. And then this is the warm version, which has a gold turtle on it, some more green packaging as well. And then this one has 3 shades in it, all shimmers as well. And they also have lip cheeks for both warm and cool, but we'll go over those later. I'm just gonna take my bronzer as a transition shade, since there's not really like a matte light shade in this little trio. I think I'm gonna start with this really pretty, like very soft lilac shade on a fluffy brush. I am gonna work this into the crease a little bit. I wonder what it's gonna look like. These are really fine shimmers, by the way, so they're definitely not super metallic or glittery, so I think they look really pretty in the crease. I think if you're in the summer color season, this would be such a pretty eyeshadow palette, which I am. Just has such nice like muted cool tones. I'm also gonna run that same shade on the lower lash line. I don't really have any eyeshadow colors like this. It's quite unique. And then I'm gonna take my finger into this more like rosy mauve, which actually matches my shirt today. And it's a bit darker, as you can tell, and I'm gonna work this on the outer corner. And then using my blending brush just to buff that in. These blend very, very easily. Just gonna build that up a little bit more, and then just blend this with my fingers to keep that full pigment. And then for the lid, this one is actually like slightly more metallic looking than the other ones. It's a really pretty neutral champagne. And I'm popping this on the inner corner. Yeah, you can kind of tell it has slightly bigger like shimmer particles within it. I think this gave us a really pretty, nice, muted, soft, like everyday look to go with the lightness of the foundation. I'm going to grab my Natasha Xenon palette, and then I use this sort of matte white shade a lot, just as a brow bone highlight and for the inner corners. What's funny is I have both this Xenon palette and the I Need a Nude palette. I almost reached for the Xenon one a little bit more, I think specifically for that matte white shade, but I also use this shade as a transition a lot, and also like the navy blues as a liner, which is quite surprising to me. It just has a lot of pretty light shades. I'm gonna take a little bit of the shimmer as well, right in the inner corner. I'm gonna do a bit of liquid liner using the NYX Epic Wear Liner. I like the brown shade personally. Just gonna try to keep it a small wing, but we'll see what happens. The eyeliner is actually dying out, so it did not turn out that well. So I'm gonna go into the Persona Identity palette, another one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes. I'm just gonna take this deep purpley matte purple and just go over that liner. And I'm also gonna use the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in Calabasas on my waterline. One of my favorite makeup steps. I feel like it makes my makeup a lot better. Rms Beauty eyelash curler, and then surprise, surprise, Maybelline Sky mascara in brown. So the rest of the Chantecaille Sea Turtle collection are these formulas, which are their lip chic formulas. So they have 2 warm shades and 2 cool shades. I love that these are separate again because you know which is which. I'll swatch all of them for you. Start with the warm ones. This one is Ginger Lily, really pretty light peach. And if you've never tried this formula, they're like a moisturizing balmy lipstick, but they have quite a nice amount of pigment. This one is Rosea, a bit more of a warmer pink. And then I have the other shade of this in my bag because I love both of these so much. This one I think is my favorite though. This is Coral Vine, which is the more pink shade. Seem like they have more of a neutral shade and then more of a pink shade for both of the warm and cool collection. Look at that. So pretty. Do some of the ColourPop Cool BFF lip liner, and I feel like this shade, especially with the Cool BFF lip liner, is so pretty, and they're so moisturizing. These do have a scent. Oh, they smell so good though, and I don't usually like lip scents at all, especially if they're like too sweet, but this one Like it smells really natural and it's so good. I can't explain it. Like how pretty is that? It's like such a perfect brightish pink for spring, at least on me. Like I'm very fair, so that's not like gonna be super bright on everybody, but so pretty. So skin wise, we're looking pretty good. It is 2:05 right now, so I'll wear this till the end of the day and update you. My nose area, it's looking really dry, and I specifically exfoliated before this video so we wouldn't have like any dry skin for it to cling on to, but I guess I did not do a good enough job. It's just like accentuating that. I do feel like with light coverage products though, if the skin is too matte, it's looking like a little bit dull to me, so I want to use a cream highlight. This is the Rms Beauty Luminizer, just this little mini version that I have. It's really like the shade of this. It's nice and light. It sort of has like a clear base to it with just a nice neutrally silver reflect, just to add some life back to the face. Yeah, I feel like that's looking a little bit better. Alright, let me get extra close up here. This is the finished look with the powder, rest of the makeup on. I think you'll be able to see just like under my nose. I have a little bit right here as well. Dry skin, a little bit more evident than I would like it to be. But other than that, I think it looks quite nice. It's definitely light coverage, but it went well with my concealer. It powdered down well. So this will be our starting point. We'll see if this wears well or not, and we'll see if it's really that much different versus maybe just wearing like a very light layer of their foundation. Everything else I used will be in the description below, but I will see you at the end of the night and hopefully have some good news, but you never know. Hello, I am back and it's 11 o'clock. Let's take a closer look and I'll explain what's going on with the BB Burst by Kosas. I'll just tell you right now, it is not looking good. It's actually looking so makeup-y, which is ironic because it's a tinted moisturizer, so like ideally it shouldn't look like makeup. I'll try to insert some close-ups on my phone and on here. It's like my foundation pet peeve is when they bunch up in my chin area. So many of these like dewier formulas, like the Glossier foundation did this as well, where it's just like when my face moves, it just totally separates on my skin. And I definitely know it wasn't like my skincare combination or anything because I made sure to use a water-based product. It is just very cakey right here around my nose. It's just like so textured. Like it's not that bad in my smile lines, but like I'm just really not happy with the wear of this. The bunching is also happening near my smile lines on my cheek. If I go like this, you can literally see like lines of texture on both sides, which I haven't really had happen with a lot of foundations. So this is kind of one of the worst wearing base products that I've tried. It's not totally horrible. It's also doing that thing where, you know, if you like wear a product, it can have like these little tiny like white dots throughout the day, like that it's just getting cakey and looking really weird. Maybe I'll try this without powder, but I don't think that's probably gonna make that much of a difference. I will and update you in the description, but I don't know what this is, Kosas. If you have drier skin, this might wear a little bit better on you, but for me, I would say this is a hard pass. If you have like normal to oily skin, texture problems of any kind, this, I feel like it is really overpriced for what it is. You're getting this little cheap packaging. I'm not loving it. I think their foundation is a lot better. Like you'd be better off with just a light layer of their foundation versus this product. Also would recommend if you want like a similar, if you just want like a nice light coverage, long wearing foundation, these two are so good. The About Face foundation and the MAC Studio Radiance, they're both can be sheared out to be very light coverage, or they can be built up to more of a medium coverage, and both have amazing wear. I have reviews for both of these. They just actually perform really well, so really hard comparing this to those. This just seems like such a flop. I feel like this is one of those products that's probably gonna be hyped up as heck on social media as well. Did not work for me. Again, like I said, I'll try it again without powder and see if that really makes like a big difference, but what I'm seeing now I'm not liking. There's definitely way better options, especially for the price. I also think like drugstore wise, if you wanted more of like a tinted moisturizer serum-y formula, the Maybelline foundation is also like a good one. Doesn't wear the best, but definitely still wears better than that one. But that was it for this video. I hope you found this enjoyable. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. There'll be another video here so we can keep hanging out. I will see you over there. Bye.